Let's get to our first guest today. My first guest is one of the best and most prolific TV, podcast, and radio hosts in the Iranian diaspora, and I'm most happy to have him back on Roqe. Kambiz Hosseini is the host of Paradox, a Persian political satire show and a podcast that airs on Radio Farda. He is, of course, well known for co-creating and hosting the popular TV show Parazit, as well as being the host of the satirical news program Politik. Kambiz has been the recipient of the Reporters Without Borders User Award, which honors individuals advocating for freedom of expression. He has been featured across many media outlets, including outlets such as CNN, Fox News, PBS, and NPR. And right now, Kambiz Hosseini joins me from his home studio. Hello, sir.
Hello, Jian. Glad to be back.
I'm so glad to have you on our first show in 2023 and the first guest.
Oh, is it really? Wow, I'm honored.
Well, it's January 2nd. How many shows do you think we've had?
Is it?
Well, okay. So look but the reason I was excited to have you, I was past tense excited to have you as the first guest of 2023, was that I feel like, we have to sort of take stock a little bit. It's a new year is beginning. An old year has ended, and so I can truly think of no one better than you to do that with, especially given the dramatic events of the last few weeks. And so let me start with this, all joking aside. My sense is, Kambiz, that like many of us, you've probably been up and down in terms of your emotions about what's happening in Iran, and I just now started the show with an essay entitled Optimism is a Powerful Force. How are you feeling as a new year begins?
Yeah. To be honest, I heard somewhere that you, in order for you to be a broadcaster, to be a podcaster, to be in a media, you have to be a giver. You have to be a person who likes to give. In order to love your job as a person in media, like yourself or what I do, and I'm a person that I tend to call myself a giver. So what I give in my shows, exactly the same, optimism. There is no way. I mean, it was I think a year ago that I wrote an essay. I write essays too, Jian. I wrote an essay saying that no depressed person could revolt against anything. So I keep going on that note and let everybody know that we have to be optimistic. And there are so many reasons to be optimistic at this point. Right now I'm talking to you, we have so many positive notes in this revolution that makes all of us optimistic.
I'm sure we're going to get into some of that. But so do you agree that, I mean, what I was just saying there in the essay, that sometimes, especially as I find as Iranians, we again, I don't want to go so far as to say it's in our DNA, but there is a tendency towards cynicism, or at least skepticism, which can be healthy. But I do. One of the reasons I wanted to write this essay is because I ran into a few people, even this past weekend and last week, who were kind of dragging their feet a little bit, saying, there's I don't know, and there isn't millions of people in the streets, and not this time, Vali, we may, and which is like, I keep, as you said in the essay, we can't be day traders about revolutions. You can't sort of judge it on at the end of each day, go, well, there wasn't a million people in the street today, so I guess we're losing. It's got to be something that we sort of take a look at over time, and I would say the last 4 months have been pretty impressive overall. I mean, taking account the atrocities and the devastation.
Yeah, but and all that. Like you said, it's not happening overnight. Revolutions doesn't happen overnight. It's a process in making. Some people, just because people are not on the street today, nobody died today because of some asshole shot them on the street in Iran. That doesn't mean that the revolution is not in progress. There are so many different fronts in this revolution that you see it every day.
Yeah.
For instance, like a couple of days ago, a group of people who are famous to be the oppositions against against Islamic Republic outside of Iran. They tweeted, congratulations of the new year to the people, with saying that
they're
showing
unified.
that they're united. So that's another.
I love the way you just put it too, that it's happening on different fronts. You can't judge this by one metric. You can't judge it by only what's happening on the street, only what's happening in terms of strikes, only what's happening at
those
the
are
UN.
the soldiers. Those are the soldiers. Like, those are the soldiers on the front line. And then there is you, and there's other people, and everybody's doing, what you can do is like doing this podcast, like interviewing people, putting lights on different spots that are dark, and everybody is, not everybody is a soldier,
Well, let me ask you some general questions at the beginning of this conversation, because we last had you on the show very early in this uprising. I think it was about 3 months ago. It was 2 or 3 weeks into the revolution. And so let me ask you, I guess I want to ask what you've been inspired by since then and what you've been concerned about. So let's start with the positive first, and just pick something. What has inspired you, or if you can, what has most inspired you with regards to the movement for change in Iran over the last 3 or 4 months?
To be honest, this is not the first time that I'm experiencing an uprising in Iran. And what inspired me this time is that the mistakes that we made before are basically was a source of lesson and education for people today, and they're not making those mistakes anymore. And this inspires me a lot to see, so remember, like in Green Movement, this happened, and the reaction was this. Yes. But nowadays, I see that the reactions are so different. We learned from our mistakes.
Yes.
And this is very inspiring, yeah.
That's a great point.
And we're not making those mistakes anymore, and that's great. I mean, the whole, look, Islamic Republic tried to divide us for 40-some years, and they tried to make every single person enemy of every single person in Iran. They divide us so they can govern us. It's like an old saying, and this is not working anymore. This strategy of Islamic Republic and this dictatorship is not working anymore. And people are just ignoring the fact that they try to, all these propaganda machines that they have, and they try to make this documentary about Ali Karimi, saying this about that guy, saying that about the other guy, and it's not working anymore. And this is the positive. This is the very, very positive point. Yeah.
It's such a good point. It's like it's been 43 years of tutorials on how to not bring this regime down. And so we know all the things, and by we I mean the brave young people in Iran, mostly obviously, who are in the front lines. But they know, okay, we're not going to do this time. We're not going to do that this time. Including, we're not going to put up with any bullshit about expecting reforms, or these guys are going to change their stripes or something like that. You know what the moment was for me, if we're doing a little bit of retrospect of the last few months as we start a new year, the moment for me was, and it was just one thing, but it speaks so loudly as to both the education and the sense of global community, the unification of Iranians, especially those online who have been activists. It was the moment that, if you remember, this was of course the famous, the now very famous, but the dissident, the activist rapper Toumaj Salehi had been arrested. And if you remember, after a week or two after his arrest, or sometime after, there was this forced confession video. And that
nobody gives a shit about that.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Great.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Not only, I mean, that's, as you say, one of the tactics of this regime for years has been, not only do you force the confession, which humiliates the guy and whatever, and you got to wonder if it's real or not, but then that becomes the conversation, right? It's distracting the. And as soon as that hit the internet, there was a collective cry from the global Iranian community saying, don't share this. And what happened?
Yes.
You can't even find that fucking video anywhere. I mean, Iranians banded together and didn't share it. A catnip, the kind of video that is exactly the kind of, sensational thing that goes viral.
Sure.
Did not get shared.
This is the example of what I said, that we learn from our mistakes.
Yes. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the moment for me. That's
perfect. That's great.
Okay. Let me flip it around. What has been the greatest source, or what has been one source of concern for you in the last 3 or 4 months with respect to the revolution?
To be honest, I don't have any, and I don't like. Even though I heard that Hamid Ismailion a couple of days ago said in one interview that we need to be criticized harshly because we don't have another chance. This is our chance, and you need to criticize us. But I don't have anything for Hamid. You know what I mean? He's doing everything perfect. He's whatever he says, whatever he does, is great. So this is the guy that I was hoping that Washington Post call him the morale leader of this movement.
Jason Rezaian did, yeah.
Which is which is a little bit too much, but I did this because he doesn't want to be that person, or he doesn't want to hold that responsibility because he has other agenda. He didn't started this to become a moral leader. He started this because something tragic happened to his family, and he wanted to aware the world, So I don't, to be honest. I mean, I can come up with the stuff. I say things. I see things in Twitter, or there are people that they're trying to basically shift and change the direction of the movement. But they're very few.
What do you mean by that?
They're not that much. I mean, for instance, right now that, like I said, this unified tweet went out from the opposition figures. There are people that, look, I don't like one of them, or I dislike the other one, or I like this one, that one. I'm like, why is this bunch of group of people, why this person is in it, or the other person is not in it, and stuff like that. And these are maybe could be the point of concern, but it's so minimum. It doesn't affect.
Well, how about I bring up the point that was, as I say, part of the impetus for wanting to do the essay about hope and optimism is, somebody was, well, more than one person was over the past week saying to me, look, there simply aren't millions of people in the streets in Iran, and the demonstrations that were happening have slowed down. So how do you respond when somebody is concerned about the fact that there aren't if anything, the protest movement seemingly in terms of numbers, has slowed in Iran?
We need numbers, but at the same time, it's you cannot force people to form a revolution. It has to happen organically. And if people and then you cannot. One of the reasons why Hamid is saying that I cannot, force people to go on the street inside Iran, because all the stuff he does is outside, because they fucking kill people, man. They kill people. I mean, if people are fearless these days, the fears are away, and nobody's scared. I mean, today or yesterday, you saw a video of this Kurdish woman who just went straight to the forces and said "fuck you" to them. So, but you cannot, expect that everybody go and just be ready to die for the cause. People have different way of fighting this regime. Not, like I said, not everybody is soldier. Yeah, we need like 10 million, 5 million, 3 million soldiers on the streets of Tehran to overthrow this regime. But I would say it happens when it should happen.
But I mean, and I almost hesitate to bring this up because I don't want to be, amplifying something that's a downer. But as much as we say people are fearless, there is a cohort who are the most fearless, who have been the ones publicly who've been on the front lines, or who've been putting themselves out there publicly, and especially those who are public names who've been doing so, and they're being jailed. Right, and they're being jailed with regularly, and anyone who publicly dissents, and we know the conditions are atrocious. That solitary confinement, the psychological torture, the physical torture. Do you realistically? I ask this with some difficulty. I don't want to say this, but do you realistically think that putting so many of the major voices for the revolution inside Iran in jail has had an impact on the efficacy of the movement?
Look, the leader of revolution is the slogan of the revolution, is the cause of this revolution. That's you cannot jail women, life, freedom. You can jail a certain person. You can jail 80 million people, but even though they don't have the jails to put everybody in the jail, but I think the leader is the slogans, is what we're fighting for. That's the slogan is the leader. So I don't think putting people in jail ever worked from medieval era up to now. Never worked in the history. So they can do it. I mean, they jail people. The guy comes up next day and says "fuck you" to them again.
Yeah,
they're saying "fuck you" to them from inside jail. So it definitely doesn't work.
Well, it did.
And how many people can you?
The fear worked.
How many people can you torture?
The fear worked in the past. Sadly, the slaughtering 1,500 people and jailing a bunch of people did work in Oban. If you want to put it that way, it worked in terms of maintaining this terrorist regime. For another couple of years.
But that was a step.
Yes.
If you look at every revolution in the world, there are steps in the revolution. So even the 1979 revolution had steps that go back to 40 years before that. So I think the steps have been taken, and this is another step, and we cannot say this is the last step. We cannot say it's second. It might happen tomorrow. They may be gone tomorrow. They may be gone in 3 days. They may not be gone. But what I'm saying is, this revolution is in progress, and it's not going to go back. It's a one-way road towards freedom.
But with respect, I do believe what you quoted or paraphrased Thomas Ismailian as saying. I do believe that we can't fumble the ball here. Like this is, even though I say I can't imagine the genie being put back in the bottle. I can't imagine this it's not going to be status quo. I mean, you can't. How do you possibly? Sure. But there are some less than auspicious directions this thing can go in, right? I mean, it's not a done deal that the revolution is going to be won. It's just a matter of how much time. And so these steps that you're talking about are important steps, and we got to kind of get them right somehow, right?
Sure, but I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But what I know is that whatever is happening right now, it's brand new for me. Like I said, being in the middle of the previous uprisings and being the voice of people all the time, and I see a lot of different elements in this movement that makes me proud of being Iranian. And we're going to the right direction. And what if it's happening tomorrow, we get the result tomorrow, I don't know. But I know that we're going towards the right direction. That's all I know.
What do you think of, I mean, one of the big events ostensibly for those in the diaspora over the last few weeks, it was that UN special session on Iran and the fact-finding mission that has been initiated or is going to be initiated. Are you someone who is energized by these kind of things, or are you in that camp that is not exactly sure how that's going to be helpful in bringing down the regime?
Yeah, but I mean, I love what happened and I love what people do. There are people doing it better than me. I don't have to go. That's not my job to go in front of UN and do that kind of stuff. No,
I'm not saying you should go. I'm saying, do you think it makes a difference?
Yeah, it does, of course. But of course it does make it. Anything we do makes a difference, man. Even this podcast makes a difference. Everything, anything we do towards what people in Iran want inside Iran.
Let me ask your personal opinion about something. You, like me, are a football fan or a soccer fan.
You're a football fan? I didn't know. What's your team? What's going on? Who are you rooting for?
You're joking? I talk about Arsenal too much.
Ahead.
I know. Okay.
Oh my God. Are you an Arsenal fan? I didn't know that.
Yeah, since I was 4.
How could you be an Arsenal fan?
This is the guy who claims to listen to me
regularly.
Doing
well. Your team is doing well.
The World Cup.
Your team is doing well after like 25 years. Yeah, go ahead.
It's true. The World Cup featured Team Melli. In the end, how was that for you?
Man, that was like a bittersweet thing. I didn't know. It's like I was watching the game with the guilt, and they for first time in my life, Team Melli scored. I didn't scream. And for first time in my life, Team Melli conceived goal, and I said, "Hak to Saracen," So, I guess the face of Ramin Rezaian after he scored the second goal, the Wales game, it was like he was crying and laughing at the same time. I think that was all of us, sort of.
Yeah.
I don't like this Team Melli, man. I don't like these players. I think, at this time, I don't think they're gonna go down as a heroes of Team Melli, or this group of people. They have to work towards getting back their credibility and come back to the people.
Do you think that's possible?
But I don't. Yeah. But just like. What happened with Farrokhzad? He came out of Iran, and I think we should be receptive. Whoever comes and says, "I made a mistake, fuck them, I'm with you now," we should say, "Yes, welcome, please."
Yeah. Where do you draw the line? Do you draw the line anywhere?
No. At this point, no. Whoever comes, I hug them.
Raisi.
I would, yeah.
He says, "Okay, guys, you know what? Instead of going to Venezuela, I want to come to hang out in the States, and I'm sorry, I've been wrong."
What is this question, man? Raisi is not going to ever do that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, I mean, the point is that for some people, there's red lines, right? There's people who they believe have been enablers of the regime that they don't want to.
Yeah, Raisi has to come out, take out his fucking Abba and Ammame and say, "Oh, I'm with you, and I've been listening to Michael Jackson all my life." Yeah, of course. I would say, "Yeah, man. Yeah, come on. Why not?" And I don't believe in God and fuck Khamenei. Yeah, man. Why not?
Magbatter. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he has a lot of work to do.
Well, yeah, but you're saying there's a chance. You're saying you're open to it.
No, I'm open to. We should be receptive to all the people that especially reformists. All the reformists that especially reformists. If they come and say, "Hey, we don't believe in what we said before. We don't believe in our action that we said before. We made a mistake. We thought we could do something. We thought we could do this and that." No, we should say, "Yeah, man."
I see Nyack today tweeted that they believe in regime change.
What are you bringing all the controversial fucking?
Well, with this, you brought it up. You said that you would,
Yeah.
So you're saying that you're open to them?
Sure, Nyack. But Nyack damaged so much, man. They damaged so much. So I don't know. How much I can forgive. I can't forgive Nyack.
Okay. So some reformists, not all reformists. You're open to the some with hat in hand.
Look, at this point, to be honest, whoever comes and shares a value and confess that it made a mistake, I would say we should welcome them with open arms.
Do you believe that those of us in the diaspora have a moral obligation to be speaking out about Iran?
No.
You do not?
No. I think everybody has its own values, and not everybody, people ran away from Iran for different reasons. And not everybody, I do. I feel the moral obligation because I love Iran.
But so you don't judge somebody who's in your social media who's just kind of posting party pictures or something like that. It's like to each their own.
They're not. I mean, I just feel bad for him, but that's it. I'm like, the guy has no sympathy towards where he's from, and to the right thing. It's like it's doing the right thing now. If you don't share your party bullshit, but I don't. No, I don't. I'm not judgmental in social media. Fuck social media anyway.
No, of course I'm not. It doesn't have to be just about social media. I mean, it could be somebody you're talking to on the street or somebody in your family. The hard part for me is the conundrum is because I think principally I don't want to say I'm going to judge anybody, including somebody who doesn't want to do anything to do with with Iran. But I at the same time I'm keenly aware that the revolution ain't going to happen unless everybody's on the bus to a certain extent, and so
sure.
So
we have enough people on the bus, man.
Do we?
We don't need those motherfuckers. We don't need those motherfuckers that they live in Toronto and they eat their kubide every day and they're happy to not be political, quote unquote. We don't need those people. We have enough people. We need those people. This. And then
don't you think that? But really, because I feel like if all of those, forget about Toronto. Let's talk about your country, the United States.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like if all of those Iranian Americans, including the super rich ones,
Beverly Hills,
Silicon Valley. Forget if
Silicon
all
Valley.
Of them were on the same page, if all of them were ready to lobby, I think you could potentially get, because some of them already meet with Joe Biden and stuff, you could potentially get movement from this American administration that currently, let's face it, seems like it's kind of hedging its bets, not sure, maybe just still hoping for JCPOA, that's the difference. That's to me the difference. We saw it here, man. We saw it in Canada. The government actually wasn't doing that much. And then they saw, 80,000 people or whatever in Toronto, and suddenly Trudeau was like at a demonstration the next week. They do react when they see the numbers and the power. So
Trudeau's a good guy now. An eye off on the Iranians in Canada. He's a good guy now. Right?
Well, it depends on who you ask.
No. As from the eye of Iranian diaspora.
From the eye of the Iranian, well, again, I think that it depends on who you ask. I think it's a split decision. But if you're asking me, I would say I was profoundly disappointed in the Canadian government in the first couple of months of this. Because are
you conservative? Are you liberal or conservative? Who are you?
I'm undeclared, in terms of party preference.
Oh, you're undeclared.
Yeah, I've never talked about. Well, it means I don't tell people who I vote for, because I don't think it's helpful in.
Do you
interviews.
Like gays? Do you like marijuana? What's going on with you?
Yes, I support both marijuana and any form of orientation.
In terms of being liberal in America, that people made fun of me because I said being liberal in America is all about being, if you approve gay marriage or legalization of marijuana and abortion, and then if you're for it, then you're liberal. If you're not, then I'm sorry, you're not liberal.
Well, I see. So you're asking me these questions, but you can't answer my questions about do you support...
What is your question?
Well, the original question was, is there a moral obligation to be speaking out? You said no.
I feel sorry for them that they think there is no moral obligation right now.
Okay.
But I don't blame them because, stupid people should live in the world too, So,
there was a guy we had on last week who was arguing, who's an expert in this area, who was arguing that if the United States was properly applying its sanctions, the U.S. would be able to coax China, that ultimately wants economic relations with the U.S., to stop buying all that oil from Iran and stop funding this regime. But that's why I think Iranian Americans play a role in pressuring their own government, the U.S. government.
I would say that yes, in that regard,
your government,
in my government.
Yeah. Well, why are you laughing? Aren't you an American citizen?
Didn't do. No, yeah, I am.
Okay.
I'm
well,
a proud
you
American.
laugh every time I say that. I mean, it's your.
No, because you say your country.
Well, it's your,
You know?
your president, your country. Yeah.
No, I'm. I like United States of America, and I like what's happening. I like democracy.
Yes.
I like many things about this culture, and I want Iran to be just like United States of America, with chola kebab. I like it. So, but at the same time, what I'm trying to tell you is that if you cannot blame citizens to not be proactive about their home country. In countries that they're immigrant-based countries like Canada and
why not? Why can't we blame people?
States? Because people like they immigrate for different reasons. Not everybody, wants. I don't want to push
I
people.
think you cannot blame
there
people.
Are some parasites, no?
Not in
people,
Turkey, but I mean, in somewhere like the U.S., you don't actually. You're not going to be detained or somehow compromised by going out on the street and or speaking out or writing a letter or trying to get Iranian billionaires in Silicon Valley to speak out against the regime and try and pressure the U.S.
Yeah, those are parasites, man. Those are parasites. Everybody, like soldiers on the street, die and change the society, and those motherfuckers come and make money again and again and again. So not everybody takes part in revolution. Not 80 million. Like I would say, 30% or 40% of. I'm just like, coming up with percentage with no scientific background on it. I'm just saying 30 or 40% of the people in Iran are benefiting from the government, and 30 or 40% of diaspora is benefiting from the Iranian government right now. So you cannot expect everybody to write letters to the representatives and do this and that, but we have enough people to overthrow the government. We don't need them, actually.
This is a most. I didn't expect you to be so optimistic. You really are optimistic.
No, I would love. I would love everybody to take part in this.
No, but I'm just. You it sounds like. I mean, to listen to you, everything's going the way it should. You couldn't. You can't come up with anything to be worried about. I mean, you're in a good place. You believe that the revolution is moving as it should.
Sure. Yeah, of course it should, and it takes time. We just need to be patient a little bit, man. We just need to be patient, but we have to get out more in terms of whatever we can do. And
what are those? What's something that we can do? Anything?
Yeah, it's stuff that you said. You're doing this diaspora thing. Right. The theme of your show is diaspora.
Yes.
Like diaspora this, diaspora that. So, what you do, like what you're doing. We don't need 200 million people to overthrow Iranian regime.
We don't.
We don't. We need only probably 10 million.
Well, okay. Well, that. Okay, well that's good. Yeah, let's try and work on the 10 million.
You're talking to an actor, comedian, podcaster, and this guy. I'm not.
What are you talking about? You're the guy who spent the last 20 years being the political,
but as my
opinion guy, and I'm asking your opinion, and you've turned into this mild-mannered, like you're like an NBC anchor now. You're like, whatever people want to do.
That was the biggest insult.
Who am I to say?
Oh my God!
I wish everyone a good New Year. I mean,
how dare you? How dare you call me an NBC anchor? How dare you? This is the first insult of 2023. Thank you so much, Jian. I'm not coming on this show again.
You see? Well, I did. I mean, to you, a tough question was, "Hey, what did you think of Team Melly?" And you're like, "Hey, settle down with the questions."
But that's like it depends. The time, look, it's changing every day.
I know.
That if you speak to me today, because of what's happening today, I may have an opinion about something today, but tomorrow is going to be different.
I know. And by the way, I know it's a minefield. Like somebody can take a line out of these conversations and make a big deal of it. And
please don't do that. Please don't take the line from my conversation.
Don't
and put it on Instagram and let people like attack me again.
Don't do that.
Please don't do that kind of stuff.
Please.
Thank you. But I don't go on any shows.
I know.
You're the only person. You're the only person I go to. To be honest, I don't go anywhere. But Farsi, English, nowhere. I don't go anywhere.
And what's the reason for that?
I just don't feel like talking too much anymore, man. I mean, I have a show. I talk I have Twitter, I have Instagram. If I want to talk, I talk. I mean, why do I have to go? And there are other people who go to other shows and doing it better than me these days. Whatever I want to say, some other people are going and doing it.
It's very generous of you. Very generous of you.
Yeah, but your show is different because years I looked up to you, and I, like I said, I feel like home. I come here and I say whatever the fuck I want, and I go and then and you're a nice person too.
We chop it up and put the negative things out there. Yeah.
Please chop it up. Take the negative stuff away. Make me look good, like I always say.
Kambiz, thank you.
Good.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Much love. Bye.
All right. Cheers, man. Bye.